Yeah, so I just finished watching this TED talk that is very recent by a lady who is a political type scientist studying civil wars, also kind of consulted with the CIA. And I have to do a vlog on democracy because I'm kind of tired of this. And she is, among others, and I'm not discrediting her, like I praised her and I posted her TED talk on my Facebook, but I gotta say, she, like everybody else, talks about democracy in a religious type way, in a cultish type way. And that's sad, right? Because, for example, she could do another talk where she describes how democracy can or can't work. But I've never heard anybody talk about this other than myself. Is democracy is a scam, it's a cultural cult if the hard work is not done by the population and the people that claim to support it. If they talk about it in this way, in this vague, cultish, religious way, and they don't say, folks, we've been failing at democracy, and here's what you need for democracy to succeed, and I've been talking about this or writing about this for a long time, and it has a lot to do with the people in these so-called democracies re-educating themselves and being in debates, learning these debate skills and learning to disagree, but to learn from what you might have disagreed about with somebody else. It means paying attention. It means communication skills, life skills, counseling skills, because some of them will have to totally abandon old worldviews if they really realize that, hey, this has made me undemocratic as I've been advocating for democracy. So education at every level doesn't necessarily mean you have to sign up for a course somewhere that may not even be that good at what you intend it to do or how it defines itself when you sign up for it. So education is important. The other thing, and education doesn't just mean local news. Unfortunately, most countries are still very dependent on the global monopoly game. Or choosing to relieve themselves of this dependence will be surprised to see that they don't have the skill sets to survive without them if they don't work on that at the same time. But another thing is you need to kind of empower yourselves as nonviolent activists, be creative about it. You need to be participants in democracy. And I'm not talking about divisive, division. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing the right way that word, but like Pierre Poilievre, if Canada is going to be in increasing civil wars, it's very likely because of candidates like Pierre Poilievre. To be honest with you, I don't think him personally, like let's say he separates with his wife, okay? I don't think personally he wants the responsibility of being prime minister because I think deep down he realizes he doesn't have all the skill sets for that. The skill sets to create collaborations that if he's a true public servant would succeed. And also, at the international stage, he's not up to it. I think he knows this. It's possible his wife is just empowering him, believes in him, encouraging him, and he's got the momentum of this encouragement, and he keeps going because his ego allows for it, because if he doesn't approach any failures, or if his mind kind of keeps the doubt about himself as prime minister deep down, now that's a risk for Canadians that will vote for him or that won't vote for him, because they kind of don't realize that if he doesn't also realize this, then what they're voting for is a failure. And voting for different or for who's going to win is not democracy, people. Wake up. So what you have to vote for is people that are talking about long-term challenges, and they're saying, I am very well aware of these fire issues, these inequalities, these risks of dependence of us as a nation on others for things that we could actually take care of when it comes to our needs here. And this politician should also be talking about, I am very well aware that the biggest enemies to my success as a committed public servant in these 4 years, if I'm nominated, will not only be the citizens of my own nation that didn't vote for me, but also the ones that voted for me. Because once they realize that, yes, there is a cost to the Anthropocene, and this is not just the fault of this generation, but generations and generations before us has led us here. So if you hear in Canada or United States or anywhere else that claims democracy and claims the people supporting it, that they're talking about modernity, the reality of the now and the 4 years and more generations coming in the future, well, you're wrong. They're not. So you must demand, as a way to take part in democracy now, you must demand more clarity in what's happening in the Anthropocene, what's happening in systemic issues in your cultures, to not be able to self-correct. You must insist on this in non-violent protests and demonstrations. But again, all I've seen so far in Canada, especially with truckers in Ottawa, is self-serving behaviors. They're not community-minded, they're not collaborative, and they don't even show signs of maturity at adult levels. So again, challenge your politicians who avoid questions, who do not themselves show in their own lives or relationships or connection to reality in their answers any form of maturity that will be required from them in these increasingly hard times in the roles they wish to take on.